I have a question. I have a recording meeting, so I want to share with the team who is only English-speaking people. So it preferably it's you know, so always English language. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
If we record, so then yes, but workshops will not be recorded.
Okay.
So it's only seminars that are recorded. So thanks, Arnoldas, for the for the idea. Drive safely, Arnoldas. And Arnoldas switched off. I hope everything is okay.
All is good. Yeah. Thanks.
Nice. It's okay. You know, it's always, as for the first seminar, so, you know, just simply a couple of more, like, you know, up to 2 minutes to connect for the rest. But usually I love to start on time because, yes, we all prepare, we all get ready for the session. And, you know, all the people that are late, actually, they disrupt and they steal a little bit of our time. So, but just as for the beginning, let's be, how to say, polite and let's tolerate up to 5 minutes past 4. You know, right before we start, I know that Milda will have extremely important message and request.
Just a request. As I said in the Facebook post, I would like to take a picture of all of us. So I would like to ask you all to turn on your cameras if you could. That would be really nice. And I would also like you, Ugnis, to stop sharing your screen because...
No.
Yes, please.
Sure, absolutely. You know, we need these pictures for the record of history. You know, who knows how many unicorns are here in this cohort? So we want to be sure.
Ugnis, you once told me how to see all the people that connect, and I forgot. Do you still remember that?
Well, yes. You know, one of the options is where you have on top of the screen where it says view. So you see
large gallery.
Large gallery view.
I only see speaker and gallery and full screen.
So try
Large gallery.
And there's no button. Like...
Gallery works as well as large gallery.
I
Oh,
think
I saw. Okay, I fixed it. Okay, we have 4 people that haven't turned their cameras on. What are we gonna do about it?
I guess we have now some spare seats on the hub program.
Okay, we have
Jonas, Dovydas, and Deimantas. They are without videos. So Milda, either it's the magic of you know, Photoshop.
I'll just Photoshop their photos from LinkedIn.
Yes, that could be a solution.
Okay. Oh, Jonas joined us. Okay, only 2 left.
Nice.
Perfect. So everyone smile or wave at me. That would be great. Thank you. Or just keep doing that. Keep doing that. Oh, just a second. Okay, one more. Keep waving, keep waving. So we would have a beautiful one. Oh, just sorry.
It's already 25 pictures, Milda. Come on.
No, my computer. Okay, thank you.
Nice. Nobody told me that it's, you know, being a photo model is that hard, but anyways, thank you, Milda, for taking care of all those communication and marketing, you know, issues. Good. So until that part is done, Milda, thanks a lot. I guess we can start. Yes, okay, I'm sharing again. It's yeah, for me it's a bit easier to share the screen. I will share without the sound. Not sure if you see my slides.
We do.
Good. My name is Zugnos. I will kick off this cohort, this program, with my first 2 weeks, and with meeting you, personally. I didn't do the time slots, so I will do it today until we finish, when we finish this seminar. So you will be sent a link to choose, optional meeting times with me. So then we can discuss, more deeply your ideas. It's a little bit, these 2 weeks will be a little bit messy because of these, November 1st and November 2nd as how to say, as a, how do you call it in English, like Halloweens and all these out of job days, I mean, it's national holidays. Before we start, I work with adult teaching, or I don't like that word, teaching, adult learning, for like 20 years. And there's a couple of tips how to be most successful in this program. Just summarizing some of the concepts or some of the mentality that I invite you to switch on or to utilize. There's one thing that I believe, and I use it very often, that it's impossible to teach an adult. It's only possible to learn. So that's why we will not tell you, how to do things until you do it. And it's 2 different roles in the program. One role is just a participant. The metaphor of the gym is very, very great to explain it. I can buy the membership in a gym. I can participate. I can stay there for hours and hours. I can be the most beautiful person in the gym with the most newest suit and everything. But, until I take, some heavy weight lifting or some exercises, I will not do any change on my body, on my health. So it's being a participant doesn't help you a lot. But being a co-creator, where you take action, where you do stuff, where you doubt, where you question, where you go out and try and bring your experience, this is what we expect. Or this is what we are ready for. Or to bring it more directly, this is, what this program is designed for. So it's take your part in the reality of this program, in co-creation of this program. By sharing your know-how, by sharing some materials to read in our Facebook group, by asking questions, by networking with each other, by simply asking questions among all of us. Hey guys, I'm gonna do this and that. What do you think? Have you ever tried? Who has experience on this? I would love, I'm struggling with this and that. This is what the program is meant for. It's not, it's not only seminars and workshops, because the seminars and workshops are probably, less than 20% of this program. But yes, these meetings together with, each of you are meant to sparkle, are meant to provoke, are meant to give certain direction, or are meant to put the process into certain sequence. Where do we start when we start a company? Where do we, what do we do when we think of the, customer? How do we talk? What do we do next? How do we measure, or how do we monitor the market? How do we predict the market size? How do we do this? How do we do that? So it's designed to actually guide you through the process of creating a successful company. Things that we will discuss these 2 upcoming weeks are absolutely, absolutely the same, whether we take a startup or we take a 100-year-old company, because it's the same. The customer, is there on our agenda. And we learn when we do stuff, when we participate in the activity. If we only listen, you see, the verbal learning is only 20% of what I talk will remain with you until you really try and do things. So all the tasks that will be provided to you, all the homeworks that will be given, honestly, I don't care if you do them. Because if you don't, so you don't take all the benefits of this program. But it's your decision. I cannot make that decision instead of you. So it's only you decide whether I do homeworks or not. Some of the mentors will remind you. But there's not always a mentor behind you. Sometimes we have to face, the reality of business by ourselves. So try to really define, try to define the learning goal for yourself, for these 3 months. Where do you want to succeed? Where do you want to grow? What's distracting you from, doing that or running that extra mile in your startup? And focus on it. Bring it to the mentor. Ask the mentor. Ask the community. But, most important, do the action. Take the action. Take the initiative. On the other hand, there might be situations where you will find yourself, okay, I know it. I've heard it somewhere. Yeah, marketing basics. I know it already. So it's not about only professional growth. It's also about the personality growth, about your personal growth. Startup is not a type of a company. Startup is mindset. So when we say the startup or the entrepreneur or the serial entrepreneur or the serial startup, we talk first of all about the type of personality. It's not the, joint stock company, or it's not, So it's mainly your character, your willingness, your mindset, your character, your attitude, and then your beliefs, etc., etc. So when participating in seminars, think both. What is this day teaching me as a professional? And at the same time, what is that day teaching me on a personal level? If someone's annoying me, what does that teach me? How do I deal with it? How do I react? What do I do? So try to imagine this program as a gym where you came in and you participate and you co-create. Our task is to add weights. If you can handle 50 kilograms, I will add 10 kilograms. If you can handle 60, I will add up to 70. And I will see where enough is enough, where you fail. Then we can stop and rethink how to make you, do 100 or 120 or 150, and then the sky's the limit. So it's training, both with preparation of your business. I'm okay with questions anytime you want to ask. It's not, you know, just how to say, it's not the, you know, one man talk show. So feel free if you you know, agree or disagree. So feel free to jump in. What's important to mention, it's important to agree on certain hygiene of the process of these 3 months. If you would ask me, you know, how to get the most from this program, I would say, make some room in your agenda for weekly reflections. Reflection is the time where you process the information that you heard, you gained over the week. This is, you know, this is what adults usually don't do because they pretend they know everything. That's why adults learn so slowly. It's because we don't learn from our experience. So this is, you know, I'm not gonna go into very much into the experiential learning. If you want, we can, you know, chat about this on our, you know, one-on-ones. But believe me, your time with yourself, if you are alone on a team, your time with your team, with the question, what does this week give us? What does that week give, you know, to our idea and to us personally? Have that question on your agenda. Believe me, it will really help and it will make some impact at the end of a program. Until you develop this skill and this hygiene, you will see how important that time for reflecting the last day or reflecting the last week makes you feel a lot better. That's why there's one of the homeworks to do. It will be uploaded also on the SharePoint or where, yeah, on our file system. I want you to think, it could be, you know, today or tomorrow. I want you to think about this program and what are you willing to contribute to this program? So what do you bring to this program? Then what are your expectations on this program? What do you expect to get, for example? And what are your doubts in this program? It could be about your expectations. It could be about deliverables. It could be anything. So please fill in this type of table where you list all your contributions, all your expectations, and all your doubts, and just please just simply rank them among each other by importance, you know. If, for example, I would say, okay, my biggest contribution will be, you know, I could be I could pretend to be a customer and I can test your products, for example. You know, any one of you could use me if you want to test your, you know, hypothesis or predictions. Okay, so that's my contribution. I say, I bring it to all of us here. And then put, you know, certain, you know, which of these contribution is number 1, number 2, number 3. The same with expectations and the same with doubts. Why do you think I provide you this task?
It's an open question. We can answer.
Yes, it's a question. Armina, you can ask.
I think, first of all, once you do something in writing, it's a commitment that you're taking towards yourself and towards others. And once it's public, it's something that you you need to actually do. And of course, it also helps us just order our thoughts in our head about what we actually want to do and what we want to take.
Absolutely, Armina. First of all, yeah, it's not to make you, so to say, responsible to bring it, you know, but it's first of all to make you think about it. It's to make you stop for a moment and to think, how am I gonna be in this program? So how am I gonna participate? You know, what is really that I expect and what is really that I doubt? And until I list down the doubts, you know, I will be able to see all your doubts and maybe I can actually address some of them. Of course, that's my job. You know, I have to do it. I have to, you know, I have to know all your doubts, but also there might be that some doubts will be covered by some of your own contributions. So it's actually, you know, the group process that I want to create from the day one, that it's not me that creates content, it's us that create content of this program. I give a certain structure, other lecturers will give certain structure and input, but overall our experience is brought and designed and created by all of us here. So please, yeah, this task is for us to fill in until the end of this week and leave, so to say, put on the file system within that SharePoint that we use.
Ognis,
Yep.
I just want to add up. So it's like the main point is like we need to trigger each other. Then it will become an information. The main points.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Darius. Thanks for adding up. Nice. That's for the, you know, how to say, that's for the mentality of us participating in this program. Of course, we will have plenty of hours to talk, plenty of meetings with our mentors, plenty of opportunities to chat, but mainly please become a co-creator and you know, and co-create this content together with us, not only consuming and just participating. That's why I hate when cameras are switched off, because I don't trust them if people are really participating. I'm honest with you, you know, because I would do probably the same if I'm not fully in there in the process. Because when I switch off the camera, I could do whatever, you know, I could practice, I could jump, I could, you know, make sports or anything. It's okay, guys, it's life. Do sports if you want, but please remember, if we switch off the body language, we get only 20% of the whole information. So imagine I would switch off myself, you know, and only speak. So I would be, you know, blessed if you get 20% of my content. Sometimes it's even less. So don't, how to say, underestimate the body language, even if the body is only your head. But, you know, it's emotion, it's yes, it's no, it's nonsense, it's what, it's boring, you know. So the lecturer can also feel at least how the group is doing. If you're all distracted, maybe I need to make a short break. But this is the information that also makes us, you know, be more productive during our, you know, short meetings. We only have, you know, so to say, like 4 to 6 hours a week where we're all together. So that's so little and tiny time for us to be all in one place. So that's why I really ask you to stay with video cameras. But of course, until it doesn't distract if you're driving, etc. I know life happens. Don't think I'm stupid, crazy lecturer of whatever alien from the Middle Ages, you know. No, I just simply share with you the andragogy, how to really learn the best possible way, the maximum. And then another thing, I prepared for today. Did you? How did you prepare yourself for this meeting?
Listening you prepare.
Listening is, action right now. Thank you, Marius, for listening to me. But how did you prepare for this day, for this meeting, for these 2-3 hours? Prepared some notes.
Yes,
I've
yes.
already written some questions in my notebook.
Questions. Thank you, Darius. Dear friends, dear partners in crime, please prepare for meetings with lecturers. Think about the topic, think about the content of a meeting. Of course, you don't know the exact details of the meeting, but please think about the question that you bring to the meeting. That will help you also to focus. Because what's important? If there is no question, there will be no answer. If you come here just to, just to enjoy listening, so I suggest you to listen maybe to radio. That's, much more fun and no need for camera. So just listening is not an option. You need to be with your questions here, for that specific topic. And where's the magic of preparation? When you define the question, you concentrate on the question. You have that question in front of you, and I bet you will find the answer. Be it the lecturer, be it someone from the group would comment, would say something, you will be triggered where the answer could be. So please, each day, starting the seminar, all the schedules are already public. So, just simply put on your calendars like 20 minutes before each seminar, or half an hour, just simply spend the time for switching into, the seminar, to prepare, to revise, to rethink, to list through or go through your notes, so that you're always on the, on the same page, and you're always focused for the sake of answering your questions. Good. So I don't want to sound like, a Mr. Teacher here, but it's really, guys, it's about my experience that I have over, I don't know, hundreds of groups that I had in my executive trainings. So it's honestly just a little, quick summary of like, 20 years of experience. I'm not gonna stop here. These slides had to be like the standard form. It's not about me, it's about content. So I quickly switch it from me to value proposition design. Where do we start our startups, and where do we start our journey? I believe I want to share a little bit of mentality and the concept of the value as I understand, and you will see whether that fits you or not. Of course, I will try to convince you if you doubt, but yeah, bringing you some examples and inviting you to think a little bit. Customers don't buy products or services. Customers buy value. And the value is what your product does to the customer. The value is what your service does to the customer. So I'm not interested in buying another air conditioner. I'm interested in having a fresh and refreshing air in my room. So do you hear the difference? The buying air conditioner and buying the refreshing and fresh air. And that's a difference that I think became extremely important over the last 10 years. Because we went, or we go through several, several different phases or ages of economy. We had the manufacturing age, we had distribution age, we had informational age, and now we have the age of a customer, where the customer is the most important power. And the empathy with the customer became extremely important skill or ability in designing your business. Yes, Ermina.
I have a question. When you have a platform that has users, but then your actual customer is a company that's buying sort of access to those users, do you do a value proposition for the user or for the paying client, which is the corporation?
Very nice question. Brilliant question. And it's not a quick and easy answer, but when you have a platform, usually there's one part of the platform that brings you money. So I would, as for the quick answer, I would focus on the value to the one that pays you. But sometimes to create this value, you need to have the other side of the platform. So you need to bring these customers in. So sometimes it becomes that, first of all, you need to serve these, let's say, users, onboarding them, and then bringing this value to the, your clients. So it depends, on the, design of a platform. But, what is the business? The business is exchange of value. I have the value you need, so I exchange it into the monetary value, so I sell it to you. If there is value somewhere, someone needs to pay for it. So this is how I would focus, Armina. But yeah, we can dig deeper a little bit into the exact concrete case when we meet one-on-one.
I want to add up
Yep.
Armina, because I have this same the same way, because my product is also for a platform for the B2B, but that platform sells B2C. So in my opinion, we have to prepare for two ways. One way is B2B and another way is B2C, because we're selling two values. So one value is for the businesses and the other value is for the customers. So
Could be, yeah.
in my opinion, we have to think from first step, like,
but it's very
we cannot
important.
do it in one way.
It's very important not to mess up, because sometimes when we try to please too many people, or too many sides, we just simply, get lost in all that, in that value propositions, statement, and then in all the communicational noise that we have around us, and around our customers. So that's why being sharp with your value proposition is vitally important nowadays. Why? And what's the value? I like this this chart. I use very often this slide also to well-established businesses as well as to startups. First of all, it's because it helps me to understand which is the mentality of business. How much value do we really add in our solution to the customer? If I'm at the very basics, if I'm a commodity, or it says agrarian economy, So then my pricing is very low and my differentiation is very low. You know, if I'm electricity, let's say, so I would be in this field, you know. So it's a commodity, everyone can, you know, make it or can sell, or if I'm a, you know, bread maker or whatever. So it's, until we want to increase the value, we have to think how to make, you know, from the agrarian economy, from the commodity, how to become goods. From the goods, how to become a service. And from the service, the recent decade showed us, you know, how to become from the service into experiences. What people buy is experiences. At the end of this cohort, I think, you know, I will start talking a little bit louder about the next phase or the next economy, which is transformational economy. But for today, I think it's okay to stop with experiential, because yeah, transformational is just another level, which is not yet recognized, you know, in the market. But I see already, how to say, how signs, little signs of transformational economy, you know, being present. What does that mean? Creating an experience to our customer can help us increase the price and differentiate in the market. So it's going deeper into customization. I think I have a little slide from a different point of view, and then I will go back to some of these slides. You know, evolution of value. Taking the coffee bean as an example, you know, if we have agricultural economy or the commodities, so we are in this 1 to 2 cents per cup. But if we make, you know, a coffee with a package with maybe the brand name, we already have 5 to 25 cents. But if we can make a coffee in a restaurant or a cafe or wherever in the takeaway coffee, see, you have 75 to $1.50 per cup. But if you can create an experience to a customer, see the difference. You can make up to $5 per same cup of coffee. So what is that Starbucks does that people pay $5 per cup? Someone of, you know, us here probably have bought coffee at Starbucks. What is that specific thing they do that they're actually listed always? When it comes to experiential economy, they say, well, in the coffee industry, Starbucks are the leader.
So they established their brand like a lifestyle product. So people, for example, take Instagram photos and then they feel cool and stylish because they have a coffee. Also, they put your name on it. So it feels very individual and personalized. And yeah, I think that's the experience you get.
Karina, so that's the most important thing. They personalize your coffee by asking your name and writing it down on the cup. And then you add on social media because look, I have my name here. So yes, absolutely, you're right. They created it as a lifestyle, but just simply by making one tiny little thing to ask the name of a customer and write it down. And when they call you, Ugnius, there's your coffee, latte, whatever, macchiato, cappuccino. You know, I don't drink coffee, so I don't know these names. But I mean, Ugnius, it's your coffee, ready, made. So you know what is that experience to go along the cafeteria to take my coffee? I like this example because it gives a little bit of a flavor what the experiential economy means. It's not just another cup of coffee, it's Ugnius's coffee. And then, Karina, what you mentioned, then what happens? Yes, I want, I'm proud of it. I want everybody else to know it, etc., etc. And then, some merchandising and all things that Starbucks, does. And, you might say, okay, this is bullshit. It really costs some time and, it's wasteless, etc., etc. Oh, sorry, it's a waste, of time, of resources, etc., etc. Look at this chart. Starbucks, probably one of the rarest companies, again, that don't have any loyalty programs and any discounts. They don't give that to customers. So if you have highly satisfied customer, you would have 7.2 visits per month, spendings above $4, life cycle about 8 years, and lifetime value about $3,200. Where if you don't satisfy your customer, so you don't create experience, you are just simply like another cafeteria with another coffee shop, you could have like 3.9 visits, less than $4, see the life cycle 1 year, and lifetime value only $200. So the last decade in business became a competition of experiences. What experience do I create to my customer? And it helped businesses to, to get the competitive advantage and be hard to copy. Because you can easily copy the recipe of coffee. Do you really think that coffee is so different from the rest of a coffee so that it's worth spending like, 3 times more? But this, this experience has created this certain perception of value. If I need, attention, if I need recognition, I would go to Starbucks, I would post, I would get likes, etc., etc. And all this actually became a value proposition of Starbucks. It's not only about having a, brown hot drink. Francisco, yes, I see your hand.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, do you think that it's kind of better to have kind of propose kind of shittier coffee with an experience instead of better coffee without that experience layer?
Francisco, certain standards become hygiene of the industry. So the coffee must be of a certain quality. And it's not about the shittier product. The shittier product is the strategy to bankrupt, I think. But there's a moment in the market, there's a moment in business where your products are equal. Just another platform to sell or to buy. So how different are you? And you cannot be technologically completely different from the existing platforms, because I think all these programming languages or software stuff, it's all the same. And it's how to differentiate where product is almost the same. So then you actually start competing with experience that we create, because experience creates loyalty. And loyalty is the element of 3, where people buy more often, where people buy more, and where people are eager to pay more. Thanks, Artemy. The shittier coffee, the shittier experience. Yes, thanks a lot. So where your product is on a hygiene level and it's hard to differentiate very much with the features of the product, try thinking about the experiential economy and about the experience that we create to our customers. Simone, I see your hand.
Well, you can also easily copy Starbucks approach to coffee, like writing names and stuff. But why do we talk about Starbucks, not like, I don't know, Buckstar or something?
I don't know. That's a good question to all of us, I guess. Why there's no other?
I think it's brand building. I mean, they've not been on the market for 2 years. They've been on the market a long time. They're international. You can find them anywhere in the world. I think that helps. And I think there's also a matter of being first. Sometimes that's an advantage.
Absolutely. Being first and being consistent. You will get the same experience anywhere you go. You know, in US, in Vietnam, in wherever you would be, the Starbucks will be the same experience. So, but again, you might say, of course, there could be another player that would do the same over the world, etc., etc. But, you know, it will be a copy at certain level. You know, I'm not that much into coffee, so I don't know the taste and you know, I don't know the difference, but I'm sure my wife, you know, loves Starbucks and there's something in it. I don't know. But look what, you know, what this this position, what does that, you know, tell us? It's more competitive positioning and differentiation. You know, the higher we go in this ladder of, you know, different economies, so the more differentiated we are and the more time we spend with our customer, so the more connected we are with the customer. On the other hand, when we say this is the specific experience that you get with us, we can price, you know, it more expensively because we are less easy to copy. Again, you could say we could actually dig deep and discuss the you know, the airline business and chat about the Ryanair's business model. You know, why nobody copies Ryanair? You know, because their business model, you know, from the very ground roots, it's designed to bring us the lowest possible flight. And then you can't copy just an idea of, you know, low fare airline, because it's also about the character and the culture of the company. What does that mean, the experiential economy? When we connect this idea with all the millennials that are, you know, getting into powerful part of the consumer, in 2026, I think the millennials will be the biggest purchasing power in States. And they are so-called me generation. What's in it for me? You know, how it's customized to me. What does it do to me? You know, what are the values of you as a provider, etc., etc., etc. So experiential economy requires us to know our customer very well and to give him a proposal. I like this chart and this model, which says, you know, what are those elements of our proposal that are appreciated by the customer. Thanks, Marius. Yes. So it's 4 areas that are important when you design your product or service. You see, it's the entertainment part. So it needs to entertain us. It needs to educate. It needs to help us escape. It has to have that customization part. And of course, it needs to be, you know, aesthetic. So if we can think, when we will later on design our value proposition, if we can remember this model, the sweet spot where we are in the middle of all these 4 areas, is probably mostly appreciated within the experiential economic era. Another point of view where we need to think, and soon we will go into more practical stuff. So just thank you for your patience to listen to these, philosophical ideas of mine. But this is very interesting. Please pay attention to seller and buyer in all these different 4, stages of economy. Seller and buyer. In the commodity market, we were trader and market. In the goods economy, we were manufacturer and user. In the services economy, we were provider and client. And now in the experiential economy, we are stager and guest. How different would be your approach if you think about yourself as a provider or as a stager? How different your approach would be if you think about your client as a client or as a guest. Why am I telling all this stuff to you? If you're into the market where the customers already are willing to get experience, but you will start designing goods, so I'm quitting. You're not succeeding. There are 0 chances to succeed because expectations in the market are already for a completely different approach. If you will come to me and say, but Ugnius, we are cheaper, so end of a talk. I'm not interested. Making just cheaper doesn't work. So we need to define the maturity of the market or the maturity of our competitors in the market by, chosen area of your business. What are the consumers' expectations? And I love that you mentioned, that Starbucks were the first to introduce something. So this is what startups are meant for. Startups are the ones that can disrupt the market. They are meant to try new things. They're meant to try new technologies. But again, coming back, people don't buy technologies. People buy experiences. Why do you think all these Revolut, N26, and others succeeded? Because they disrupted the regular banking. But disrupting the regular banking meant completely new experience to the customer. Customers loved experience, so then they actually, went for these services or these products. I see a bunch of hands now. I'm not sure who was the first, but boys, I think you agree that Armina starts.
No, Darius was first, so no sexism here. It's fine.
No, it's just respect. Yes, thank you. Okay, so then Darius.
Okay, thanks. So Ugnius, I want to ask with who we have to talk to asking about how to find the right market where our product belongs to.
Darius, please, 15 minutes patience. We will go into this topic.
Thanks.
Soon, yes. Yes, Armina.
I'm curious whether you think that the new generations are into purpose as much as experience. And by purpose, I mean adhering to a certain cause or to a company just because it promotes something that they believe in. Is this actually a trend? Is it a myth? Does it make any sense?
I think it's a new normal. I think this is it will be trend. It's very beginning, it's very early to talk, but I think this will be the new reality. because transformational economy says, I would prefer provider that helps me to be better me. So, you know, the value fit, the fit of the values, fit of the purpose, you know, your culture, etc., etc. And that's extremely interesting what happened recently, you know, a couple of years. All the businesses were meant to be apolitical, you know, are religious, etc., etc. But we see when companies stand up and say, we are against this and that, and they are on you know, they are on top of the, you know, selection. So it becomes very interesting to, how to say, to monitor what's happening, and probably it's about the right insight at a minute. But again, you know, please accept, and again, one rule for us, all of us here, all the lecturers are bringing their personal view. You know, I'm not pretending to be, you know, the true, the right, you know, theory or something. It's just my point of view. So you will collect plenty points, you know, of view, and then of course you will, you know, select your own. But Armina, thanks for the very, how to say, bullseye question. So why I'm telling this to you? When we think about creating a business, you know, okay, I'm a bit lazy person, so that's why I would probably spend more time in finding the niche for business where I wouldn't have to work very hard. So, you know, some people just run into business and they work hard and they of course create business and they earn money. I'm the kind of a guy to think where the competition is, you know, less intensive, or where is the blue ocean, you know, because I hate the red ocean strategies where we fight only by just simply giving the cheaper price, you know, smaller price. So I'm more of a kind of blue ocean strategies. So again, all my thoughts and my you know, my lectures, they are designed to really provoke you to think about where the competition would be less, or how shall I design my value proposition so I have less of competition, or I could be number one in certain things, certain experience. You will see in slides, I'm not gonna read these quotes, but they all say about the experiential economy and the experience that we create with our products. If you would ask me what the current business people or the head or the founder of a company has to do, it's, you know, two tasks. Understand the value for the customer and focus on it, and empathize with customer experience and improve it daily and fast. So when I ask, what's the value for the customer of your business, of your product, of your service, you need to be 200% sure you know it. Then we can talk about success. If we doubt, if we have 20 points, you know, 20 bullet point list of the values, so then it means you don't know it yet. But of course, we will investigate. I will give you a methodology how we can do it, and we will do it. Augustinai, I'm listening to you.
Yes, thank you, Ugnius. And sorry in advance if you will talk about this later, but
no, sorry, it's all good.
Good, thank you then. What if your product theoretically could attack multiple vectors in which it can be useful? For example, it can either make it simpler or more fun or more fast. Mm-hmm. How do you pick one? And for example, if your client is not as research as you are and prefers either of those. So yeah,
it's a great question, Augustinas. I would tackle the one where customer is willing to pay easier or more. So investigate, just simply by investigating and by interviewing. So we will talk about the customer interview in a moment, but it's a very good and it's a great question.
But because just to kind of nail this down for myself, what you are definitely saying is that you should pick one. You should never pick 2, 3, or 4. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
But it will come in time, Augustinas. We don't need to. We don't have to know it when we start. It could be, plenty of companies are still investigating. But from the, from the whole list, there will be that number one value that is appreciated by your customer, by your preferred segment of customer. Because sometimes what we do, the mistakes that we do, we try to tackle everyone in the market. Someone needs faster, someone needs cheaper, someone needs bigger, someone needs smaller, someone needs this, someone needs that. At the beginning of a young company, there's a thirst for money, there's a thirst for sales. But this is a trap because we run everywhere and we lose the message. We lose the focus on the value, the core value of our proposal. So that's where, and it's symptomatic. I mean, there are plenty of companies like, I do the consultancy to businesses, and sometimes there are companies that for 20 years, they still don't know their value. But until there's, a little bit of a monopoly, a little bit of, other competitors slower than them, there's no need to focus. But, the mission of a startup is to be fast and to grow fast and, to grow double digits. So that's why we need to really be very sharp from the very beginning. On the other hand, the startup can experiment quickly. If this doesn't work, we do that. If that doesn't work, we do this. And, we pivot, we test. Here it goes, and then the sky is the limit. So this is what all the startups have done. If you just simply go through the, startup histories of unicorns, they would probably, all of them, they would list you a couple of failures, couple of experiments, couple of different, propositions that they tested. So it's okay to not know at the beginning, and it's okay to really try and test. And we will see how to do it. Yes, of course. And we, slowly but surely we go into this methodology and this topic. But again, let me just simply put a couple of things in order here. One thing is, please, if you ever tell me that you have created something that doesn't exist in the market and that the customers, never ever had the opportunity to satisfy this need, end of our talk. There's no unsatisfied needs in the market. Guys, somehow customer does satisfies his needs. I mean, it could be that it's a difficult way, it could be that it's slower, it could be that it's very complicated, but if the customer has a need, he finds the way to do it. We come into this existing need and we might, do it faster, quicker, simpler, So please just have this in mind. There's no unsatisfied need in the market. We need to steal customers. We need to think of how does our customer satisfies that need today. Maybe we will digitalize this journey. Maybe we will platformize this journey. Maybe, then we will come up with our solution. But first of all, yes, we need to think of what is the exact need, and how do we take over customers from the way they satisfy that need right now. Imagine I need a banking service. So somehow I can go into the bank, I can fill in the paper form to make a transfer, I don't know, to Darius or to Elena, yes? So if I have that need, I can find a way. I can use the Western Union, money transfer kiosk, maybe. So if I have a need, I satisfy it. If you are, a new banking solution, so you would think of who are the ones that we are going to steal customers from. So if I come in and I say it's an effortless banking, a quick transfer, so there's some specific segment that I will address. So I will need to really focus on, who are the ones that are easiest to attract. Other words, we are probably trying to define the segment that has the biggest need for our value. So this is where we really need to focus later on. And of course, if you will tell me that there are no competitors for your business, again, I will not believe you, in advance. I mean, don't think there are no there are no competitors. For the banking, again, the same Western Union is a competitor. I mean, it's if I can do it, so there's a competitor for you. So this is where we need to really be, realistic about our ideas. Maybe sometimes we lack time to do homework, precise homework, to really define and see that picture of the customer situation. So, and last thing, on the other hand, never ever try to satisfy all the possible customers. Let's take, I will have a couple of examples about the value proposition, and we will discuss a little bit of, but this graph, or these three bubbles here, you see that the competitive advantage is where our offer meets the customer need, but is not covered with competitor offer. So don't focus on the parity or the red ocean, which is in the center of this picture. So this is where we need to focus. So we need to define this part where competitors are lagging behind, but still it's a need. But on the other hand, you see, there are plenty of needs where, could be underserved. There are plenty of needs where our competitors serve better. And it's okay. I mean, we don't have to, if we try to satisfy everyone, so we lose that, that sharpness or the boldness of our value proposition. So it's about the competitive advantage. Okay, a little bit of a dialogue needed now here, just to either wake you up or invite you to be here with discussion. Darius, yes.
It's a bit off topic, but just want to let you know, guys, if you need mostly any kind of ebook in English, just let me know. It's 90% that I can share with you guys, so I will send you a link or something to get that book. And Ugnis, please, if you have a list of something to read about, just to prepare for your lecture or other lectures, so just make, I don't know, at the end of the session, you can make a list or something, or make a post in Facebook.
Nice. Yes, guys, thank you, Darius. I also invite, let's share, materials. Because absolutely, there are like, how many of us here? 33 people here, so at least 33 books or 33 sources to read, you know, could be just simply quickly generated here.
Yeah, I just want to tell that if you will write me a name or an author, it's 90% that I can share that book with you. So,
Darius?
you know, save the money from the first step.
Darius, but with respect that you don't steal it. Okay, guys. Petrol station, let's say Circle K. What value do they sell? If we talk about value proposition and we go into specific petrol station, so what's the value they sell?
They're selling us point B, which we are going to, the main value of the petrol station. But right now they're adding more values to it, especially Circle K.
Yes, thanks, Darius. It's yep. Yes, Simonas.
For me, it's usually, if I go to Circle K, it's the question if whether I do want some coffee or not.
So then it's the value proposition is the moment of rest.
Yeah, probably.
You see, you know, what Darius said is the how to say, the continuation of journey. So I give you, how to say, I ensure you will reach your destination. So you will not stop in between A and B. You know. Mantas, yes, I see you.
I would guess they are selling the comfort of your trip. So during your trip, you will like get coffee, get a snack, so you will enjoy it.
Okay, guys. So then, what about petrol?
I was just talking to one of the friends the past days that those petrol stations are not focusing on the petrol. It's just additional value to the food and the coffee and so on.
Absolutely right, Mantas. I agree with you 200%. But you see what happened. We take petrol station and we don't talk about petrol at all. It's about what, who said about that shitty coffee? I mean, Franciscus probably, if I remember right. You know, the petrol must be there and it must be, you know, certain quality. We don't question what type of petrol, you know, they provide. You know, Circle K, some, you know, many times ago, they said, well, if you fill in the Circle K, you will go like 3% more kilometers, you know, of your regular trip. You know, nobody pays attention. I mean, that doesn't work. It's a hygiene. It's like, you know, to buy bread somewhere in the whatever food store. So I want you to really sense that difference, where hygiene product became so much hygiene that nobody thinks about it. And then you have to compete with different stuff like coffee, you know, cleanness of the premises, toilet, the hot dog, the whatever hamburger, or, you know, all the rest, like, you know, these areas for, you know, playgrounds for kids, etc., etc. And this is where you compete to actually sell, you know, the petrol. The petrol became reason to stop. When you buy Coca-Cola, what do you buy? Agla, what do you buy? What did you bought actually when you bought Coke last time?
I actually don't drink Coke, but I wanted to refer to the Circle K example.
Yeah. Okay.
I never go to Circle K for petrol, so that's definitely not a place for me that is associated with petrol.
Yep.
However, if it was a picture of Neste petrol station, I would definitely tell that, you know, this is my petrol stop, and I go there because I have a discount card, and my main value there is to get petrol quickly and easily, and with a discount. So it's just a difference. So what's the difference basically? Only that Circle K offers this better experience of food and coffee, whereas for Neste, petrol station is pure purpose. You just need to get petrol.
Yeah, so that's a very great point. But from the strategic point of view, you know, when the Statoil and Viada and the rest will communicate their apps and their discounts, you know, to be the same as the Neste, so that will be the end of the business of Neste. Because all of these that have infrastructure, you can spend, you know, less time than in Neste. I mean, in this Circle K, because it's, again, you can pay by card quickly, no entry to the cashier, etc., etc. You can actually pay by an app, so without any cards and any, you know, discount cards and any of that, you know, mess. But these stores have strategically prepared for more options for a person to stop. Where I agree, I was extreme user of Neste. Now I'm using another network of petrol stations. But I hear what you say, and I agree with that. When you have purely this concrete need, I think the Statoil, until it was Statoil, they messed up because it was hard to get petrol in Statoil, because all these hamburger and hot dog clients, they would mess up the whole room. So, you know, you had to stay in the queue to pay for your petrol for like, you know, 20 minutes. But it will change in time. I see these strategic shifts. But in time, you know, when they become mini store, they will become mini supermarkets. You know who's the owner of Circle K? It's the food store. It's Canadian food store network. It has nothing to do with petrol. So they will become a small shops, you know, the quick shop, quick food store, and that can change actually the picture in the future. But of course, for now, I agree absolutely with you. Karina.
Yeah, I wanted to answer the question about the Coca-Cola.
Nice.
So, yeah, so I think Coca-Cola doesn't just sell a drink, they sell a moment of happiness, which you share with friends, or it doesn't matter if you're at a party or somewhere else, but you drink or you buy a small moment of happiness. And I think also in like, especially countries which are not so wealthy, if you ask them what they spend money for, it's actually Coca-Cola, because they cannot afford it often, but every once in a while, and they feel like, yeah, like a moment of happiness.
Absolutely right. It's a vibe, it's a wannabe style. And when you buy that bottle, you are already experiencing that future value of your party, of your evening, of your, I don't know, movie night, or whatever it's gonna be. So this is, again, see, it's a bottle of, you know, sweet drink, which is, you know, hardly healthy. I mean, but you know, the overall value that they sell is a lot more beyond the drink itself. Yes, Alana.
Hello, Agnes.
Hi.
I have a question, but not sure if this is the best moment to ask it, but still, you know, everything you dealt is super interesting. I just want to make sure, are we talking here now, I guess, more about product or brand strategy part? Because I just really tried to connect, you know, I actually had a meeting with one investor recently, and I imagine if I started telling him things that we are talking here now about value, experiences, they just cut me short. All they want to know is numbers, sales, revenue, and stuff. So how do you leverage these two things in reality?
I would say there are no great numbers. I cannot imagine, you know, great numbers where we do not satisfy existing, exact, understandable need of a customer. If investors started asking about numbers, so run away.
Why?
Because it, you know, the first question must be, is there a need in the market? Show me the need in the market. So I can paint you numbers. Excel is extremely good at creativity, you know. You can create these numbers. But when you will come up to convincing about numbers, so then the question is, who has this need? How much of that segment there is out there in the Europe, in the world, in Lithuania, in Baltics, wherever you plan to work? And then it becomes really, you know, number one question is, does the need really exist? Because, you know, if we go into existing need, there's a chance we will grow faster if we do it right. If we go into the business where need doesn't exist and we need to create the need, so we need triple, quadruple, or 10 times more marketing investments, marketing expenses to create the need. So we will be opening the market to the rest of competitors.
Okay.
Yes, Sir Thomas, join.
Yeah, two notes. One is just to answer Elena, her question. We are preparing for ourselves to dig deeper into design thinking. So since we are talking about design thinking, we have to come over the famous examples in the world which are associated with design thinking. So there is no other way to go to the concrete things. Another question is to Ugnus. In terms of transformational economy, what do you think the future of Coca-Cola is? Because you mentioned that the biggest buyer will be millennials who say, I buy what makes me better. I don't think they will believe Coca-Cola makes them better.
Yes, Sir Thomas, nice. That's a great question. That's why I think if we see the recent investments of Coca-Cola, you could see they are buying the juice producers. They bought the water production companies. So they recently, well, couple of, 2 years ago, they bought Neptūnas, which is the Lithuanian water production company, the drinkable water. I think they are preparing themselves to be more like, healthy, more, so to say, as you said, better me oriented. So it would be extremely interesting, to hear a little bit of, what they are discussing in their strategic sessions. But I think they believe themselves that, the topic of sugar is going to be an important and hot very soon. So they are very much preparing the overall business. It might be that the product itself will, for example, start kind of, diminishing or decreasing or changing. But as the business company, they are well, they are well split into the revenue streams, I think, right now already.
And also want to add up that Coca-Cola is selling and their marketing is based on not to get known more, but they're investing into soft marketing. So they're investing into sharing love or something like that to connect the people and so on and so on. They're not advertise Coca-Cola as Coca-Cola. This
Absolutely.
is a good drink. They're advertising the feelings, what Coca-Cola stands beside of those feelings. So that's the main reason, and they just changing those, feelings which they are promoting, but they are not promoting directional marketing to the customers right now. So
if you want the crazy lecturer idea, if Coca-Cola would become a social network, I wouldn't be surprised. you know, it's because Coke is a community, kind of, you know, and you know, it's the only company that has, by marketing actions, has kind of privatized Christmas. You know, the Santa Claus is actually more of a salesman of Coke. I mean, so, you know, so they have extremely huge brand power, but this is what they have, yeah, they have created over years. So not spending too much on the philosophy, but yes, the very good question. But I want to move closer to design thinking. Thank you, Thomas, for also keeping us on track. Look, any type of service, any type of product we buy, I want you to switch on your brain when you do it, thinking of, okay, what is the value I need right now? When I buy a piece of chocolate, you know, what is the real value I need right now? Is it, I need a moment for myself. I need to treat myself. I had a hard day. I need, you know, I need a little bit of a, you know, energy. I need, you know, this or that. Try to become extremely sensitive and extremely, how to say, try to notice things. When you go to, you know, let's say, you know, what's the value about wine? How come someone buys a bottle of wine for $20,000? You know, part of this price is just story. It's just where it comes from. It's you know, it's all that given story when you are presented the wine. It's again about chefs bringing the extremely how to say, masterpiece on your plate, extremely interesting and extremely expensive dish. So it's everywhere. The value is created by different means. It means you with your products can also create that value if we design it well, but first of all, if we understand it well. So this is the preparation for us to dig deeper into the method. But I see Agnes' hand already also.
Not mine. Maybe it's from the previous.
Okay, good. So I'm just checking if I'm not. And that Thomas probably left from the last question. Yes.
No, I can answer a new one just
nice.
Quickly. Yeah, the thing is, do you have an idea about are there any businesses who are successful not because they are addressing the value, but they are creating the value which customers do not know yet? Is it possible? I mean, you create something what they don't know they need, and when they knew about you, they finally understand they need it. Is it the case?
Absolutely right, Thomas. You nailed it. The thing is that the need exists. Only customers might not know about it yet. So this is the very thin line between that moment, you know. But to say that the customers don't have that need would be a suicide for business. It's, you know, remember the Henry Ford, you know, the most, how to say, popular quote. You know, he said, if I would have asked my customers for what they need, they would have told me they need a stronger horse. You know, it's explainable because they didn't have imagination of the car. Their reality was the horse. But the horse is not the value. The horse is air conditioner. The horse is, I don't know, the horse is a car. You know, it's more important what the horse does. So the value is to carry people or carry, you know, the luggage, the stuff, the whatever. So the value is to carry it. It's not to have a horse. If we clearly define these two, then it's much easier to brainstorm and think, how can we better satisfy the need to carry? Not the need to have the horse. And this is where magic happens, because then we can distinguish between, you know, the horse and the true value, the Coke and the true value, the Statoil or Circle K and the true value. This is where we need to dig deeper at the very beginning of our ideas, of our startup businesses. And we come up with hypotheses. We say people are not satisfied with the way they do banking today. Schools are not satisfied with the websites they can build, they can create. People are not doing this and that properly, and this is our, you know, first of all, like, you know, proper hypothesis. And let's dig a little bit into the method, where later I will invite you to do certain homework. You know, business thinking is built to define the problem and find solution. And it's a little bit, narrowed thinking, where design thinking invites us understand the problem first, then try to define the problem and alternatives, and then only find a solution. So there's that one step back is what I want us to do over this week. I want us all to doubt your ideas and to investigate again with the given methodology of interview. I will jump to this scheme, which actually gives everything what I want to share with you today. Look, in the middle, there's a problem statement where usually we start our businesses. But what design thinking says, you know, do one step back into your trigger. What has triggered your idea of a startup? When we have that trigger moment, we go out and we investigate. So we empathize with our customer. We look. Sorry, yeah, thank you, Loretta, for muting yourself. We look for certain experiences in the market where we could really get some, you know, material for thought or for our service or product. So you see, when we have a trigger, we will do empathizing, which is through one of the methods called empathy interview that I'm going to share with you today. Only when we empathize, we collect as much information as possible. So this, you know, double diamond method, it goes into these, you know, wide lines. Then only we define the true problem, what we want to solve. You know, today you might say, okay, Ugnius, I think the problem is that schools don't have the ability to build their own websites. You know, but, you know, you say it's a problem. But is it right? Is it true? Why don't they have websites? Maybe it's they don't have competence. Maybe they don't have resources. Maybe they don't have absolutely, you know, knowledge about it. You know, there might be many different aspects of this problem. So which is that we are going to tackle or we are going to focus on? Which is that schools are willing to pay, you know, most likely, or who's going to pay? So this is where we really need to investigate. And then, of course, there's another part of the design thinking process where we go into ideation, prototype, and test. So all of that process actually we have to go through the process multiple times until we get a market fit here with test, and confirmed solution. So over our course, so you will do certain parts like MVP testing, how to do it right, how to enter the market, etc., etc. But mainly our focus step by step is to do the first part is to empathize with a customer. So soon, let's talk about what type of the customer and how to do those interviews. What design thinking helps us to do is to create the business or create that value proposition through people desirability, approach. Because we might think about, technological innovation. There's like 5G opportunities in Lithuania or in Europe, yes? So we might think about some business about utilizing 5G. So, but that would be technological approach. Would this be appreciated by the customer? We don't know. But if we go into the customer needs first, and only then we design, what type of people carriage, luggage carrying, my customer needs, only then I am able to really design not just another horse, but maybe a car. So I think, and my message for the first day is that the driver for your business is the customer need. Other words, in the startup world, you will see the word problem. All the literature says, is there a problem in the market that you are trying to solve? So I just converted it into, is there a customer need that you are trying to satisfy? It could be that it's not, it's not articulated very well yet, but still, does it exist today? Because I don't think we are that rich to create new needs. And in that moment, in that case, when we remember the Henry Ford's, quote, we can add up the Steve Jobs quote, who said, customer doesn't know what he needs until you show him. But again, we need to be careful with just simply cutting out, some words or some sentences. Can you imagine the situation that you never ever had a need? I showed you a certain device and you suddenly have a need for it. I doubt it is possible. Because, I don't know, I'm none of the examples come up to my head right now, but it's
robot vacuum cleaner,
something, anything like that. If you don't need it, even if I show it to you, if you don't need, you would not consider it at all. And design thinking, how the design thinking methodology is built. It's built on the experiences of people. You somewhere and somehow have already experienced the best way scenario. I could go to the client, I could interview, and I can get information from him about my future product. But there's a certain important, certain important approach necessary. If we will have some time, I probably, or actually we can watch this. One of the biggest mistakes startups and other companies do, they imagine that customers can innovate for them. It's like Henry Ford. If he would have asked people what they knew, he would get just an answer within their knowledge, within their scope of abilities to think. And when we go to the customer and simply ask question, what do you think about my startup idea? How many times do you think you will get the real and true and honest answer? Guess, please. It's a question. 0. Yes, Franciscus. I didn't see right clearly, but I guess you showed 0. Thank you very much. You're right. Yeah, I developed for myself some kind of idea of unconscious lie. And it says that we lie unconsciously. How come? Let's see the video, but I have to reshare it to share the sound, okay? It's a short video. It doesn't work. Just a moment. Okay, I still need to show it to you because it's important. Give me 1 minute. I'll just simply play it from the other source. Until I find it, I found it already. Just a moment. All the videos. Die. Okay. I'm ready. Ready, steady. Screen. Can you see it? Okay.
Imagine that sheet of paper.
Ta-da! Getting back to my slides. Done. That's it. Sharing. Yes, I'm back. So, a little bit of a drama there, yes. But the idea itself, that unconscious lie of your customers or your interviewers is a very important topic to be addressed when you investigate your startup idea, when you investigate your hypothesis for business. And why does that happen? And why it is so important? What do you think? It could be many different things. It could be one, I don't have idea of what you are asking. I don't have knowledge about it. You ask me about blockchain technology applied to brain or to hair regrow or whatever, I don't have a clue about this, but I want to be smart. I want to look cool in the eyes of yours. So I would say, yes, of course, that's a very important thing you are willing to do. It could be simply, I like the person who's asking, and I want to stay in contact for a bit longer. Or it could be otherwise. I hate the person who came up to me and asked the question, what do you think, Ugnis, about the blah, blah platform? And I'm just simply tired and I think, oh God, another platform. What type of mushrooms do they eat to bring these platforms into the tech hub, I mean, there's so much of different distractors to lie to you about your idea, about your hypothesis, so that we actually, need to use a specific technique to collect precise and more accurate information about our hypothesis. And there is one type of interview methodology. Remember, I started talking to you about the age of experiences, about the experiential economy. It's my experiential field. And you probably are mostly interested in my experiences that I have experienced in specific area of my life. If you want to listen to that experience, so you need to actually, get through my brain so that my brain doesn't fuck up that information about my experiences. And it's the only way to do it is to ask a concrete story. Empathetic interview of design thinking is based on the idea of collecting customer stories. When you go out and ask, in the Henry Ford case, when you go out and ask people about, do you remember the last time you enjoyed riding the horse the most? Could you please tell me that story? So you are not asking a person to select some specific elements of that trip, but you ask to tell the overall story. So then you become responsible to choosing what was important in that story, Just to give you another example, if I have a question, which cosmetics is the best? Could you give me an answer?
Max Factor.
Why?
Nice woman.
Oh, it's a great advertising. I see. So any other options? Which cosmetics is the best? Okay, I could give another question. Which car is the best?
The one that best fits your need.
Come on. So how can I produce a car, having your answer, Ag? Give me more details.
No, it's just me that I choose the car that better fits best fits my needs. So I look at the market and I choose. That's how I find out which one is the best for me.
Okay, so name us one of the need.
It has to be relatively cheap. It has to fit 3 kids.
Okay.
And it has to be electric.
Okay, electric, cheap, and 3 kids. Thank you, Agle. Do you agree, everyone, that the best is electric, cheap for 3 kids? Karina, why don't you agree?
Well, I don't have kids, so I don't need a space. I would prefer a smaller car, which fits in small parking lots, so I don't have a problem when going to the city, for example.
You just messed up everything. I thought we know what the best car is. So now it's a small, easy to park and.
No, but I'm just saying that it's up to each individual to decide. There's no one answer, which is the best cosmetics or the best car.
Oh, really?
So that's my idea.
So
yeah.
How can I start producing cosmetics or a car if there's no one answer? How can I decide what to produce?
No, then you have to know the lowest quality, what is in the market, what you can offer. There's a whole process to go.
The first thing, thank you. Yeah, thanks for examples. I needed a little bit of these examples to really show you that. See, when I ask you to choose criteria, the criteria could be completely different from a person to a person to a person to a person. And then there's no common ground, yes? So when I go out with my startup hypothesis, and ask, what do you think? I'm just simply killing my business. Because if I ask Karina, if I ask Agle, if I ask Darius, if I ask Austeria, I could have 4 different answers. Because I don't know your priorities. I don't know your way of thinking. I don't know your lifestyle. I don't know your experiences. So when we investigate something in the market, we have to be very careful of asking the customer or potential customer to give us his opinions. This is where I really appreciate the Steve Jobs quote about giving that device or giving that service, to experience. But this will come up a little bit later and after. But look, if I would ask not about the final list of criteria like Agle and Karina gave us, but if I would ask, girls, do you remember last time you enjoyed driving a car? Could you please remember last time you enjoyed driving a car? Could you please tell us that story? See, a little bit difference is that I don't want you to finalize criteria. I want you to tell me your experience. And you probably might talk about how you were driving, where did you go? You went with family, without family, you parked in the city easily, you did that and that and that. And that story of your experience is a lot wider than just simply 3 bullet points: electric, 3 kids, and cheap. Because, having your experience, then I will think about the disruption and innovation, how to satisfy your need to park a car anywhere if I choose the city segment. So I don't, I don't transfer the responsibility to decide about the product or service to my customer. I collect the needs, and then I will go and innovate the solution. So collecting the need through customer experience or private customer story is the way I want us to investigate your hypothesis. And soon I will give some questions and some examples, and there will be written methodology, so don't worry. It's not that hard as I sound right now. Simone, I saw your hand earlier.
And I also ask when the last time you hated driving a car?
That's a trap a little bit, because on one hand, people talk more openly about the great experiences because they live this experience again. It's a great memory. So this is where people are more open and they are willing to share. Because to complain is to be, again, the unconscious lie switches on. Because when I complain, I want to be smart, I want to be cool, I want to think of things that annoyed me. So usually in the design thinking process, actually we stick on the good experiences, we collect those good experiences, and we can, we maybe multiply them, we combine them so that at the end of the day, it's a bunch of great experiences of driving a car. I think, based on these great experiences, Simone, if you are accurate in listening customers, you will hear these, pitfalls of what are these moments to avoid, but you will not focus too much on them so that your interviewers don't stick to these. So that's a recommendation from the design thinking interview part. But that's a great question, Simonas. Thank you. Loretta, see your hand?
Yeah, I just have a question. I understand that we're speaking about experience level, like, okay, but still, where does the price go? I hardly imagine that person describes their ideal trip or ideal car ride, that it was really cheap, but it obviously does have impact, in the long term. Like, okay, so my best experience driving a car was maybe, I don't know, a Chevrolet, but which I rented, and so on. It was really, really great experience. But overall, I wouldn't buy it, So if you know what I mean, like if you going to produce car, I mean, is it really, I mean, does the price not matter at all in this system that you described?
Well, it's again my personal approach, Loretta. I don't talk about the price. Price doesn't exist for now. And well, there's one exception. If you decide to be the cheapest in the market from the day one, so then probably yes. Then you don't need these interviews. You just simply do the crap for cheap and it will go. But the price itself, it's a later on the definition. The price is a definition of value. The price is communicating value. So, of course, the cheap car, probably Agle, while telling her story, if, she's telling the best ever experience, she would not talk too much about the luxury, about the SUV, about the golden wheel rims, about, anything else. You would probably feel what type of persona she is, the customer persona, Is she a, city person? Is she the I don't know, the planet friendly person? Is she the family person, etc., etc.? The price itself should be out of vocabulary for now, because I think price is just a matter of your strategy and your later on stage. For now, it's the need that is important. And if people say it's too expensive, it means either it's not your segment, or you messed up in understanding the need of your segment. So that's a little bit of a moment but that's great question, Loretta, because I actually hate when people focus only on making something cheaper rather than there is existing offer in the market. So that's absolutely short-term strategy, and you're not gonna live well with it. But again, that it's my personal point of view. Yeah, but that's a great question. Elena, yes.
I just want to quickly ask a question. When you were just talking about the price, I remember when I followed this method and came up with my idea for the startup, and I was actually applying for this program. And one of the people with whom we talked, he said it's impossible. It's simply impossible to do cheap and well, and you always have to choose one of these. If there's sort of a general understanding how it necessarily have to be, because if you follow this method, I completely agree that you can do well and you can also offer a good price. But it seems that some people believe, well, it will never work like this.
Thank you very much, Elena. Yeah, that's absolutely right. I just absolutely agree with you. Because, look, the deeper we go into the need, the more clearly we can satisfy it. And if we do it right, customers will pay us. When people say it's too expensive, so either it's a shit, or either it's something I don't need, or either it doesn't satisfy my existing needs. But if we do it right, it's clear that if a person needs that value, so he's willing to pay for it. Is there anyone that expects getting things for free here? Well, inspired the Tech Hub seminar program. but still someone paid for it. I mean, it's, you know, it's
No, we're
so,
paying our time. We're paying our time, but just to, you know, just from, I just wanted to reply one second.
Sure.
Because in my opinion, for instance, our product that we are working on is the optimization, is like automation of certain processes that are otherwise costly, you know, for small businesses.
Yes.
So in my eyes, cost, I mean, the decrease of cost, decrease of payment for the client is one of, okay, maybe it's also speed or whatever, it might be other, you know, values, but lesser price is a value itself, you know.
Yes. Yes, Loretta, it is a value, absolutely right. So it's yeah, sure. But, you know, to talk about the automation price, so, you know, so what price you are willing to pay for, you know, saving some costs, you know. So I think, so, you know, you can easily charge like, you know, an annual cost of the process for automizing it, so that the effect will be next year and the next year and the next year. That's a great moment to share an example of my friend. He's British consultant. And like, you know, 7 or 8 years ago, I worked with executive school at ISM then. He came in to train my sales staff, and he said, Ugnius, I'm gonna teach you, you know, the difference between cost pricing and value pricing. Okay, I said, teach me. He said, okay, so what's the price of your training day? Well, it was like 7,000 litas these days. And he said, okay, how do you come up with this price? Well, I said, our costs for the premises, cost for the lecturer, then our, you know, margin, then the profits, then this, then that, then corporate taxes, and here we come with 7,000 per day. And he said, you know what? You know, last month I sold 3-day seminar for 120,000 litas. Of course, you can imagine my question. You know, how come, Steve? That's insane. So then actually, you know, he said, Ugnius, I thought of the impact of my seminar to his company. So the value I create to him. And after my seminar, he can save 500,000 litas annually. So he thought about, you know, 1 million litas in 2 years was his client's savings. And then I said to him, so then it's the price for a seminar is 10% of your savings, which is almost 120,000. And client agreed, and they had a great deal. It's not a question, you know, either you deliver or not. So you have to deliver what you promise. So it's not about whether he is convinced of what he does. But this is about, again, the cost-based pricing and the value pricing. So Loretta, if you say our value is to save your money, which is okay to be valued, but then, you know, the price must be extremely high for it, for a service itself. You know, how much you would charge for a person to cut his costs like by 80%. So that's an interesting business you are in. I mean, it must be hell of a profits there. If we adopt the right attitude, of course. So going through collecting these stories, why do we need it? Again, it could be, for example, we think about customer experiences in the field, I don't know, again, let's take the Loretta's examples, automatization of a process. How come we can collect experiences of customers about automatization processes? Who would be those, you know, respondents or whom we would take interview from? sometimes it's important to simply think about who might have similar experience. It should not be exactly the same experience. For example, if I'm creating a barbery shop, I should go to the barbers only. No, maybe it's absolutely different industry where I want to collect these experiences. For example, I was conducting one session with the bank about customer service. The best insights these people from the bank came up with came from the haircut service investigation. Because where we say the best customer service, so I sent them to the city, I said, go anywhere where customers are present and talk to them. So they went back about, 2 hours later, and they were fantastically motivated. And I said, we went to the haircut, we spent, 1.5 hours there. We talked about the best possible ever experience, of a customer service. So there we had insights about, knowing your customer, talking to customer, listening to customer, etc., etc., etc. When I talk right now from this moment of knowing, from this moment of experience, it might sound very easy. Oh, Ugnus, it's clear to have, to know your customer, to do this and that and that. But when we go into something unfamiliar, when we go into the platform, when we go into some new solutions, how do we know it's going to work? Which features are important, which one to choose? So invitation is to really think where similar experience has happened. And then to investigate these. Also, it could be that we want to investigate our future customers. So the ones that probably don't have this experience yet. For example, what we did with executive studies, we investigated alumni, we investigated students. Well, those are executive students. And you know what? We investigated kindergarten kids about what's the best way you learn. Tell me the last time you learned something very easily. There were plenty of brilliant ideas, and we actually built a new hybrid blended program for very specific segment and newly appointed managers, directed specifically to narrow need of newly appointed manager. So the interviewers that you can connect, you can talk to, should first of all be, it's not your friends, not your relatives, not the ones that know you, because they will start lying with love, friendly, supporting you, helping you do your business. So that's why they will not tell you truth. It's more important to go, to someone you don't know, to investigate somewhere you haven't been yet. There will be the description of the interview methodology in the same folder of the first week. But mainly that interview consists of the first question. It's semi-structured interview where you start with, tell me about the last time you loved doing something, you enjoyed buying online, you were extremely satisfied with services on the platform, you did something very easily and well. Define that field of experience. So ensure the person has that experience, and then continue talking to him. Again, it says talk about feelings. you need to understand what actually made a customer feel great. If later you can install it in your product or service, you are a much more, how to say, you will be much more, developed in this, how to say, overcrowded business environment with all the services and products, etc. And of course, you need to capture things in these stories. What are they talking about? What were their actions in that story? How did they come up with a solution to do one or the other thing? What do you actually hear? How are they talking about it? And I will soon give you also one example from my personal experience with these interviews, but Augustinas has something to say to us.
Yes, Ugnis, I hope I will not interrupt you very much.
No, it's good.
So I was thinking just now, if your product targets a specific kind of audience in another business, so
Yes.
a colleague of ours has referenced some sort of automation process. So let's stick with that example.
Yeah.
But that end user is not the one who makes the purchase for your service or product. So I assume during your interview process, you have to involve the people who'd actually make that decision to buy that product. So would you ask the same question to them as well? What was the last kind of great experience of purchasing a service? I mean, I'm joking, of course, but I think you understand my question.
Yes, that's a great point, Augustine. I see the difference, and it's clear, between customer and the client, or the customer and user, or consumer, customer and consumer. So that's a great point to really, make them separate, if you have them separate. For the one, you might talk about the making the purchase experience. So then you will investigate what's important to him to know when he does an important decision to buy whatever solution to his business, and how to deal with him, how to create connection, how to keep up the good experience, etc., etc. But then the investigation, how to say, target is the sales process. But sometimes we actually design our services, and the sales process is not to push through the decision maker, but sometimes the strategy is to pull through the user. Imagine if the employer of your client comes to the CEO and says, look, we're going to fail if we don't have this product. We need to have this software because I know it works well. It's brilliant, So you have your internal ambassador in the company then. But then the feature, the software, the thing must be designed properly to fit that person's need. So this is, again, the strategy to, one or the other in the B2B life. In the B2C life, it's extremely wide market, and we cannot talk, to everyone, every person in the room, so to say. So this is where we really need to make some interviews to prepare the product well. Important thing to mention, I see we are all tired. I just somehow forgot to make a short break, but I think we are wrapping up a little bit. But some few moments to emphasize. We had the interview process at ISM, University of Management and Economics, where I worked at executive school. And we were designing a program for young CEOs, young managers. And we interviewed, as I mentioned, the alumni, the students, the kids, etc., etc. I can assure you that like 8 to 12 interviews cover almost everything you can find out. 8 to 12 interviews. So it's not about 1,000 interviews. Because after 2 or 3 interviews, you start seeing already some patterns, some cliches, and you already can recognize in this, you know, service, in this type of thing, these things become more important to, you know, wider range of people. So these are qualitative interviews, semi-structured, and they bring a lot of information. We made 12 interviews, and then we performed a 1,000 quantitative questionnaire with 1,000 respondents, and you know, all the answers matched very well. But qualitative interviews, they give more insights about, you know, what's important to the client. So that's why, you know, it's a limited number of interviews needed. But the problem is, if the interview is well prepared, it takes, for me, it takes 1.5 hours. You know, I don't need you to do it like 1.5 hour interviews. If you can plan and spend like 20 minutes per interview, I'm fine with that. Because we need to a little bit learn also how to perform these interviews. So interview, when you perform it, when you do it, don't give hints about your product or about your solution. If you are a platform to sell something, ask your respondent about, you know, the last time you bought something easily and effortless. If you are about a certain product, ask about last time he or she did something very easily, you know, without efforts, quickly, etc., etc. So, you know, if you give hint, you already, you know, program the brain to react somehow to your idea. We don't need that. And again, this is just for the week number 1. Later, we will move faster with your ideas, but I want us to do this, you know, step back. You need to convince me, you know, that the customer, you know, has that specific need. Because when we talk about the value, on Wednesday, we will talk about this, you know, in more details, but it's the value canvas. The value, the need for value that drives customer to buy could be either pain or the gain. So either I'm solving some pain issues, some problems, or I'm in the need of certain gain, of certain, you know, extra things to add. But this is, let's leave it for the Wednesday. So capture findings, because these findings might lead you to some hints, but please don't make mistake expecting that your customer will innovate for you. Like, you know, Henry Ford didn't expect his customers tell him that they need a car. Because our customers, sometimes they cannot imagine what is possible. You are the ones that will innovate. But if I need, you know, a proper haircut, maybe I don't know if it's possible, you know, to program a robot or something, you know. I cannot imagine, you know, you are the ones that are in the field, you are the ones that design this disruption, but you need to design it that it fits me, you know, whatever, 24/7 service, whenever needed, you know, less here, maybe higher price or something, because some waxing is needed here, etc., etc. I don't know. But the idea itself is that don't expect customers to innovate for you. Collect these triggers for experience. Then you will be able to install them into your service or your product. I don't know how much you are with me, but I see some live faces, but tired faces. It's just again about the same thing, needs and insights after these interviews. Because when you hear the story about when was, again, rephrasing the question about that cosmetics, which cosmetics is the best? Well, Marius knows, it's Max Mara. But if we would rephrase the question, when was the last time you were the most beautiful to yourself using the cosmetics? The most memorable to yourself using some cosmetics? And when you have that question, you would probably talk hours and hours about this moment. And you will hear, what was the occasion? What were the people around? What was the moment? Did you have enough time to prepare or not? Was it rainy or not? Was it rain resistant? Was it, I don't know, sweat resistant? Was it this or that? Was it cozy and comfortable to fit into, I don't know, small bag or something, So there are plenty of things you will collect from the story, concrete story. But important thing is to stay on that exact story. Don't let your client, your respondent to summarize and say, I think the best cosmetics must be ABC. Listen, this is opinion. I don't need opinion. I need your true experience. Because opinion is already interpretation. And it's my job to do interpretations because I will create the product. So before I mess up this, Alana, I see your hand.
Yes, Agnes, I still have this question because now when you're finishing this topic, let's say we have done, all the research, we have come up with innovation, which all sounds super good. We got some even maybe traction or proof of concept, but I still don't quite get it. Or maybe you will cover in the later, seminars. How does that translate into real world? Because investors ask for numbers. Your customers, like you said, they want to know what you will give them at this right moment. And if you start talking these high concepts, that you might have talked with a team, and that sounds very good. I mean, I still don't get it because I experienced it myself many times. So yeah, thanks.
You don't talk that much with investor about how did you investigate the need, or why is your solution green and not red? You don't go into that. But this is the number one step to create the idea, because honestly, I doubt your idea. Convince me that this idea is vital.
But that's exactly the moment when we have to start talking numbers, right? Because you wouldn't
No.
care about the sympathy map, would you?
No, I don't care about numbers. I don't believe that the need exists. If just to provoke you, to step back. If you have done these empathetic interviews and you can convince me that there is a real need and the design of a service is of that certain shape because there is that much of unsatisfied need or this much of potential, or today my clients do this and that specifically wrong way, which is costly, slow, and this and that. But please show me your interview results, because if it's only your hypothesis from just chatting about, guys, would you buy the software from me if I would do this and that faster? This doesn't work. I can quickly share one example with you, how investigation was done by one bank. Quickly, and then I will go to Augustinas. There's a phone call, interview with client. So, hello. We see we are not your primary bank, Yes. What could we do to become primary bank of yours? The answer is, you should just simply pick up the phone. Then they say, okay, what do you mean? Well, when I need something, you are never reachable. You know, either it's busy or you never call back, so I cannot run my business with you. And then the research company says, sorry, we don't have that answer in our script. You know, it's not written in here. And then, you know, the one says, okay, so what are the answers? Well, it's the network of cashiers, all those cash machines, the working hours, this and that. So she named like 5 bullet points, you know. And imagine, you know, and then of course the person said, okay, so choose whichever bullet point you need to choose, you know. And imagine this report goes to the board of the banking and they say, well, in Lithuania, we have done the investigation and people say they need longer working hours. This is the point I want us to address, that we are not mistaken in our hypothesis for business. Because very often we see the process of whatever field, and we think just by ourselves, we think it would be so great to automatize this process. It would save hundreds of hours, but that's just only our thought. But you know what type of service itself it should be, we need to dig deeper into the true need of it. So Elana, I'm not, how to say, I'm not familiar of what amount of homework you have done. Maybe you have done these interviews and you have everything, so that's fine. I will listen to you very carefully on our one-on-one, and we will see, is it necessary to dig deeper or not. But the concept itself is that we hurry too soon to run, you know, upfront to investors and to tell, look, we have automatization opportunity. So many hospitals, so many, I don't know, doctors, so many patients, and so much of the market. But then when we make the product, nobody buys. Then it's the answer that this hypothesis homework wasn't done properly. It's very often, you know, people run with only personal hypothesis. But I need you to be convinced by at least 5, let's say 6 interviews, that there is a need, there is certain the way how that experience can be created. I believe I'm saving your time by suggesting this method. But we will see. We will chat also one-on-one.
When we will have these one-on-one things?
Today I will make available time slots due to my, let's say, calendar, and we will upload this Excel sheet, so you will be able to choose suitable times, and yes, we will make it. Not sure if I answered very well, but we will dig deeper in the one-on-one.
No, you really got the point what I was asking. Thank you.
Yep.
It made me doubt myself, so that's important.
That's my, that's my task for this week. Eimantas, yes, I see your hand, and then Loretta and Augustinas.
I have a question. Does value propositions have the gender, like woman, female, city role? Because I have a lot of not interviews, but presentation for my product, and sometimes I don't know which value is fit for them. Sometimes they matter only price. I know when I have arguments for them, and sometimes I have like head of school is they need one thing, teacher who administrating this school website needs other things, and so on, and how to mix them all. What I want to say that I am right that value proposition is a life, dynamical.
No. Value proposition is solid and it's it's firm. Sales technique, what you just mentioned, could be different. If you say, for example, what's the value for the school to have a website? And it's only it should be very clear what's the value. Either it's the visibility, but visibility is not the value. Visibility brings something, so visibility might bring the quality of students. Visibility might bring the I don't know, the financial support. Visibility might bring this and that and that, So imagine what does the good website does for the school. So this is where you start finding what's important for them. But when you go to the head of a school, of course, you put this value with one words. When you go to the teacher, you put the same value, but different words. The value will stay the same, I think. Because, imagine Ryanair says, Eimantas, you can fly cheaper with us. And then they say, Ugnius, you can fly very comfortable with us. Do these two values fit into one airplane? Imagine Ryanair and comfortable. Not possible, because comfortable is costly. Comfortable means expensive. Comfortable means a lot of legroom. And Ryanair doesn't have legroom, is uncomfortable. So, the value proposition defines your business model later on. So if you start messing up with value to the customer, so then you have trouble running the business. Again, we have plenty of time to investigate, and we will chat and discuss, yes. But we will need to focus, narrow down. Because sometimes, again, it's Eimantas, it's a good moment. We think schools need websites. But why? Maybe you don't. Website is old school. Maybe they need social, like Facebook accounts, Instagram accounts, TikTok accounts. Why website? Website is, the ancient invention. We think it's needed, but maybe, maybe next generation of the solution could be something very different. Maybe an app, maybe some combination, maybe, it's maybe. But first of all, what is the problem that you are trying to solve by giving them website? And I would start probably, in your case, with what is your hypothesis? What do you think, from your point of view, the website will bring? For example, you say visibility. So then go to school and talk with them about, when do you remember was the best year with your visibility outside in the market? Tell me about that year. What was happening when you were most popular and you liked it very much? This is where I would talk and try and understand what is that they were doing So then we would think of, how to put these things into somewhat service to them. Because when we have our hypothesis without the need, we might face the situation that nobody buys the websites for schools. We go to the Ministry of Education and they say, "What? We don't need them." And we say, "How come you don't need? Everyone has website." Come on, that's not need. That's your imagination. That's your hypothesis. We don't need. Schools have students. We have budgets. The system works. Why do we need website? So this is where we will dig.
I understand what you're talking in Lithuanian like law. Government law is written that we should have website.
So it's enough.
So it's we can't just talking about what we don't need. We need social media because website is first information channel, and Facebook and Instagram and other good things is only channels.
Okay. Yeah, we will investigate more. But you know how willing they are to pay you if it's obligatory by law. So it's like, I don't need it. Someone tells me to have it. So it's then there's big resistance to buy. And I would probably cut all the costs to zero to have just simply one pager. It says, this is the school, this is the address, that's it. But yeah, something like that. But that's interesting moment. Yeah, there's a need to dig deeper into, if you find the right value to them and you would come in and say, look, your website will solve you this exact problem, I think then you can move forward quite faster with more willingness to buy rather than just resistance to say, look, this is the law, you have to have it. It's not the way to sell, probably.
I think I have one list, but I don't really know which is the best of them. And sometimes when we talk about the prices always matter in the end of presentation, because if you have a good talk, good storytelling for them, then the price is, okay, it's a good price, you are good guys. If we talk about the price in the first time of meeting, that's shit.
But it's, again, I come back, price is the image of value. If I say, guys, would you buy a brand new Mercedes S-Class for 10,000 euros? Mercedes S-Class, 10,000 euros, brand new today. The price is a hint for their value. How come the Mercedes can cost 10,000? It's not possible. Would you buy, whatever, I don't know, Fiat Multipla for 200,000? Again, that's a nonsense, mismatch. So if people say it's too expensive, either they don't need this value or you didn't explain them well. Of course, you might be, too expensive in general in the market, but I skipped this part because we are all, how to say, we are all intelligent people here. We understand the competition. But if people say it's too expensive, either they don't need it or you didn't explain it well. Sorry, yeah, it maybe takes too much of me talking, but Augustinas is very, very, very patient. So Augustinas, Loreta, Artyomas, and Mantas.
It's okay, Ugnis. I have asked multiple questions already, so I can wait. But I mean, it's probably a short answer to my question. So I can't say I'm 100% convinced if the question that you are proposing to ask is the right one, because going back to the Henry Ford example, people wouldn't probably answer their ideal trip as going, 50 miles an hour or having a roof over the head. Well, perhaps the second one, but so perhaps would it make sense to ask some hypotheticals to the potential customers? No.
No. Because
so, like,
it is so misleading that you cannot trust it. It's unconscious lie. Would you ask me, Ugnius, would you buy Ferrari for 100,000? Artem, Augustinas, would you buy Ferrari for 100,000?
Yeah, I mean, I get the point, Ugnius, but
it's so easy. Look, Augustina, it's so easy to lie. It's so easy to be nice to you. It's so easy to be rich guy and to say, yes, of course, bring me two. And you start creating Ferraris and you bring it to me and I say, ho, 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 ho. No, not today, darling. I mean, it's about, it's about, how to say, it's about avoiding this misleading lie, which we are very much leading to, we are heading to listen to this lie because it supports my idea. This is the trap. When Henry Ford, look, when Henry Ford, I just, again, improvising because I hadn't chance to talk to him, but if he asked people, remember the last time your ride was perfect and brilliant, and could you tell me about it? I guess he collected these experiential trigger points. The horse was strong. It went well. We didn't get stuck. We went on time. We took all the luggage. We did this and that and that and that. And you collect all these things from the stories, and then you go home and do your innovation homework. How do these fit into? Who would be that superpower horse? So this is the approach, because customer doesn't know how far your innovation can lead me to. Could be the instant banking from like chip in my brain. How come I can think of it if I'm not a technology guy? And it could be obvious to you because you say it's easy. Look, Ugnius, bang, bang, two thoughts, two things, one blink, and transfer done. So there's the difference. So just, yes, trying to make it as clear as possible.
Yeah, good. I'm convinced of this. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Loretta.
Okay, thank you. So my question would be very similar to Augustina's and the Ayman test, I guess, because okay, so let's take an example of this cosmetics, right? So my problem is that these questions that we, you kind of suggest us asking, they are very wide and they might bring us to totally different product. For instance, say if we take the example of cosmetics, let's say if you ask what was the best experience when you felt, the prettiest, after using cosmetics, I might say, the time I went to makeup artist, and I have no fucking clue what was there put on my face, but overall I felt exactly fantastic. So which means that it's a service that's completely different from makeup. It wouldn't, in cosmetics, I mean, it wouldn't bring me any information, but of course we might get deeper, as you suggested. But anyways, for instance, the quality of makeup, let's say, okay, so it's very feminine topic, but anyways, like it depends not only on makeup quality, on the the product itself, but also on the application, on the brush, on the master skills. So the problem is that my question is the following, like, okay, so it might be that these questions, when we go deeper, okay, step by step, we find out that the product that customer needs, okay, that the customers or potential customers that we investigate, because we ask only a few people, right? Yes. So the question is like, okay, so it might lead to completely different product. Okay, so for instance, I'm very good at cosmetic making, hypothetically, but I'm very bad at as a makeup artist. So question is like, for instance, if our questionnaire leads to the situation where people don't really need certain quality of cosmetics, but they just need good makeup artists overall.
Fantastic.
So my question is, what happens then? I'm not a good makeup artist. What do I do then?
Loretta, fantastic question and fantastic situation. So imagine you discover your clients don't need another brand of cosmetics. What do? You still produce the new brand of cosmetics?
No, I don't, but I'm not good at makeup as makeup artist either. So,
But but if there's a need in the market to help your clients to become like, more skilled in putting the makeup and putting the cosmetics, maybe you can become, an advisor. Maybe you can, add, books or app or something to educate your customers. Maybe you can be cosmetics with 24/7 helpline help how to do this and how to do that. I mean, so this is the core essence about finding out, what's the core and the real need. Maybe it's about the different type of cosmetics for you as a producer to produce, how to say, the dumb resistant cosmetics, so you cannot spoil things, or you can make it a simply different package, so this goes with that but not the rest, So it's plenty of ways to still play around, but to investigate that core need through the story. That's what I like very much in your story.
okay, I think I understand now the whole concept you were delivering. Thank you.
Thanks God, it somehow gets the shape, because, yes, when I learned this methodology, I was like, for 2 years, I was very skeptical about it. But when I started practicing, I cannot talk to people any other way rather than, without prejudgment, without having certain, how to say, imprints about one or the other topic. Artemy, thank you for your patience to wait.
It's okay, Agnes. I just one comment and one question. So comment is, to this methodology. I'm a certified coach, professional coach. So I know the value of a very good question right now, and I just can support it. Another thing is that I might see some fear from many of us to find out that the product we offer to our customers is not right one. And it seems we don't know what to do next. We have to, it's better we pray that they say they don't need our product and we win in this case, rather than we trying to convince them to prove us that we do best. So before we do the empathic interviewing, please pray God that 90% of customers say you're doing the bullshit. If not, don't think that something will happen. So in this case, if you are ready for this failure, complete failure, you will win a lot. We will win. So I'm telling not just to teach you, but I'm telling myself to prepare as well, because I am the one to fear this as well. Another question is, Ugnus, do you have any advice how to find the right people for the interview? Because you say, don't use your relationships, don't use the customers know you, don't say what you are going to sell. It's hard now to understand the portrait of a potential people who would answer the questions. Any advice, please?
Sure. First of all, look into the screen of your computer. These are potential interviewers. Until they don't know so much about you and your idea. So these are, everyone in here is a potential, person to talk to. And the networks of each person here are also, it's a shortcut. You might say, guys, help me. I need experiences in using cosmetics. Who could you recommend from your list, So when we have a warm lead to someone, and I would say, okay, Artemas, I will bring you my friend Jonas, and he knows you will call and you can talk about his latest experience in deep diving with sharks, because I know he had that experience and you need it. So it's using this network, using your network. But yes, you are right, and I will repeat myself, don't give any hint about your solution, because then people switch on the expert mode and they start, advising and consulting, which is, again, unconscious lie. Sometimes they might be very honest and very right, but, having that concept of unconscious lie, we don't know whom to believe. So I take as for granted, I don't believe anyone until I convince myself. So this is my approach, so that's why, yes, Artemy, I also support your idea about we have to be ready, like Loretta said, we have to be ready to hear that our hypothesis is a crap. But the sooner we know it, the faster we can pivot, we can change, we can craft new angle, we can add something, we can, so it's better to fail now rather than after you get first investment and then you fail in front of the investor. So this is also my approach. If we doubt, we better doubt now. When we move forward, I want us to be sure that we are on the right need, on the right, on the right spot where business can happen. Monty.
Yes, so my question is a bit with a different subject, but you mentioned that price cannot be that factor to gain the users. But you also mentioned that there's some kind of line where like every client, like system or something are the same, right? And yes. One system different with one value, one with another. But if you are a new player and entering the market, can't be the price your tactic to enter the market and gain some users from other competitors, and maybe afterwards just like make bigger price or something?
Yes, Monte, it's about the strategy, the sales strategy, but it will come later. For the moment, we need to understand, is there a need? And only, many weeks or many days later, we will be able to talk and discuss and think about, the pricing, the sales strategy, etc., etc. Of course, there are strategies to buy customers. Of course, for example, Revolut. Of course, they delivered, cards for free in, I don't know, in every shop everywhere. You could get your Revolut card, anywhere. But later on, they introduced new services and they introduced new plans. So, some monetary relationship started. But the basic service is still for free. So be very careful with strategies to discount your service, because market quickly gets the message of the discount, and it's very hard to get back to your price, to your regular price. Look what happened in the sales in the food stores. So without Actia, you cannot sell anything now. They trapped themselves now with all those discounted products, which is the biggest cancer of this, retail shops. So be careful with strategies, but when you get the customer and when the customer, when you get the investor, an investor says, let's burn the money to get the market share, all good. Then it's your turn. Okay. For now, let's forget the price. If it will be the strategy to get them on board, then we will use it. But for now, let's understand the true value, honestly and clearly, crystal clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, a great question, yes. Francisco.
Yeah, so my question is, when doing interviews, and let's say those interviews I don't know, has my question, sorry.
It's okay, it's okay, it's all good.
I forgot my main question. So, and those, I'm doing interview with business,
Yes.
and they are using services from our competitors, let's say.
Yes.
Do I need to mention somewhere, let's say, what their experiences with those services or no?
So if you investigate their experience with certain service, so you only talk about that service. You only talk about, you can talk about how did you choose the provider, what are those criteria that you discussed or you evaluated when choosing, so you can elaborate a little bit more about, pre-purchase and the post-purchase experience and, the using experience. So it's all good to expand your interview, but never ever, give them hints. At the end of an interview, you can also say, there will be a little bit of hints in this scenario that I prepared for those interviews. And the file, I will ask the file to be uploaded. But I mean, it's, afterwards you can mention that I'm investigating, this and that area. It's not that I'm creating the product and blah, blah, blah. So then you will make your respondent feel uncomfortable and he would think, okay, so I just, feeded him with hints and he will use my experience to create a brilliant product and he will become rich and billionaire and unicorn, etc., etc. So not to disappoint your respondent, I would not go into explanations of what you are doing. I'm just trying to understand how this and that works. And that should be enough to explain why is this interview for. It's just the final slide. I mean, it's just a hint, recommended questions after you take interview, what to think through. For example, I very much like Loretta's comment about that, cosmetics, etc. Because what Loretta mentioned in her example, she explained us the situation where she could discover completely different customer pain. And customer pain is, I don't have know-how, I don't have knowledge how to use properly the makeup. Probably my hypothesis that there's no good makeup can shift to there's no knowledge about using makeup. And I might use this hypothesis, I might make it, but then I have to be open-minded to go into these interviews. So there are some basic principles, like beginner's mindset. Pretend you don't know nothing about cosmetics and makeup when you go into the interview. Try to forget what you know already. Be interested in the person and in their story, in their experience, and try to really do these quality interviews. So for those interviews, I would say we have 2 weeks. So it's this week and the next, because I connect these 2 topics into one. We will talk about because with interviews, we will define problem. From problem, we will try to define the value. And with problem and value, we will think about value proposition. Who has certain need for certain value, what type of segment, etc., etc. So let's think about these 2 weeks as a whole, and we will then split, all the rest in between these 2 weeks, because I'm with you for those 2 weeks in a row. My contact details. For professional purposes, I also use my Facebook profile, my LinkedIn profile. honestly, guys, I'm convincing here, I'm hard to reach. When I work with customers, with clients, with seminars, I don't respond. So be really proactive to get me if you need. So I accept SMS message, phone call, Facebook message. You know, if I don't respond in a day or two, so try another channel. Because when I end up seminar, I have like 200 emails. So imagine whether I can respond physically to all of them. So I really, openly, I'm letting you to use all the channels to reach me. When we will, when you have question, when we arrange mentorship or just generally you have the situation and you want a quick reaction, So Facebook Messenger maybe is the fastest thing to use, but also feel free. What else? 3 hours, of course, is too much without a break, so that wasn't planned. Next time, I think we will make proper break in between. But for the very beginning, I wanted to warm up us very well. But the topic is a little bit sophisticated, and that's why it's a little bit difficult to explain, without painting on the flip chart, etc., etc. So that's why sorry to take you too long, maybe today, but it's a kickoff. Any other questions, Dario? See your hand? No?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just want to ask what to prepare for the Wednesday. So yeah, we're meeting on Wednesday.
Yes, so the Wednesday will be our workshop. If some of you will already have interviews conducted, we will talk about the experience of the interview. If you will say, okay, Ugnis, we didn't manage to get anyone, so I will not believe you, because at least our cohort, your colleagues, could be potential interviewers. So I have a topic for Wednesday. So we will talk about the value. What is the value to the customer? But before that, I want you to already think about or already have conducted at least 1 or 2 interviews. Then it's much easier to talk about, about these components maybe of the value proposition. So first thing, my contributions, my expectations, and my doubts. So the table I showed you. Next is read the empathy interview instructions. It will be uploaded, and conduct at least 1 or 2 interviews by just simply following these instructions. If there are any questions in between or while preparing, drop me questions by Facebook, preferably. It will be faster so that I can react quickly. You can continue. And then on Wednesday, we just simply fine-tune your experiences, what goes well, what goes wrong. We will talk about the value and then discuss how to conduct these interviews if you had bad experience. If you had good experience, we will, just simply emphasize on it. And then we will go for the rest of a week. Of course, we have like 4 free days, like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But for interviews, you could use it. Of course, you will meet relatives. You can say, if your relatives are, for example, you could say, for learning purposes, I do interview about this and that experience, So if you just simply take off the tension that you are doing this business, so we minimize the risk of that, support and I like it. Yes, you do. We believe you. Yes, that is go. So if we can get rid of that part, so, that interview could count. Whew. I feel like I'm talking too much today.
Sorry, Ugnis, to interrupt you, but do we have to complete our interviews by coming Wednesday?
No. To complete all 6 interviews, you have 2 weeks. But to have at least 1, so that you have experience of what does it mean to have interview, it would be great to have it until Wednesday, 4 o'clock. Agla.
I also have a question. do I get it right that you recommend to have an interview and just to test the idea? So with basically potential user, or is it better to have interview with actual user who is already using the product? Like in my case, I have a working product, and I can either do interview with one of you who is not a user, or with actual user of the product.
It's a good point. I will drop you a link to a very short video about this design thinking process. It's a very old video, but it was made by inventors of the design thinking process. One of them is David Kelly. It's the IDEO company under the Stanford University. And it says quite a bunch of information over like 7 minutes, but it shows some examples of, how these interviews and from whom they were made. The main message is, Agla, make interview with the ones that have greatest experience in the topic, in the field. If I would do the interview about traveling, I would ask the hardest traveler. I mean, the one who has experience. If I would do the interview about shopping, I can take the professional shopper. I could take the family shopper. I could take, someone else. So the most important thing that over these interviews, we need to collect as much experience as possible. So if you feel that your clients could actually, but if your clients know you, it's a trap. So it's difficult to talk to your clients if they know your product and you come in and ask about that experience. So that's no good. Somehow it would be important that they don't know you. I mean, it's good to talk about the experience also. It would be fantastic if they would say that the best experience is by the way we use this and that service, and it turns out to be your service. But then we need to take out you somehow from this interview, because if they connect you with that service, then it's again the trap of the same brain game, And try to really think, again, last thing, try to really think also about different industries, banking and haircut, I don't know, massage and car maintenance service, cosmetics and food for kids, I don't know, farming and high tech, experiences might be, very interesting to explore. Exploring customer experience, any field, exploring online shopping, any field, exploring platform, almost any field. So try to mix as much as possible.
Is there any difference? How do we make it, like, for example, survey or live meeting?
It's absolutely only live meeting, because it's semi-structured. It's not just simply answer the question, because the instructions will give a little bit clearer view about how these interviews are maintained, but it could be online call. But again, remember, if you don't see a person, you lose about 80% of communication. So it could be a video call, which is more or less okay, because you need to see the person. You start with a question, tell me the story about last time you did da. And then when you listen to the story, you might actually dig deeper. How did you decide that you would go there? What at that moment was important to you? Why did you choose this? But always stay in that history, in that moment, in that experience. Okay, but what was important then when you decided this and that? Okay, how did you feel about that? And you see, your interview goes on, depending on the answers you got already from your respondent. So you cannot make just simple questionnaire to send them, they fill in, that's it. So it's not the way. thanks for asking that. That's a good point. Karina.
Yeah, I also have a question. Do you share the slide set with us, the one you used today, or will you?
€5. Karina, of course I share.
Okay.
All the slides are always with you. Yes, they are always also uploaded right after the seminar.
Okay.
If not today, so at least tomorrow morning they will be there, of course. If you need faster, again, drop me a message, Ugnius share slides, and I will send them directly to you. If for example, you're meeting your team to discuss or something and you need them right now, I can quickly share it by just email. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Too much for the start? Well, I believe, you know, if there are still things that, you know, doesn't fit somehow, so guys, relax. We are in the learning and experimentation and doing mode. So there are no failures. If we will fail, at least we will learn and we will discuss it. I want you to really, you know, think of, I will do an experiment and I will try. Even if I know already my product does work, I still invite you to do it. If you haven't tried, if you have done it already, the empathetic interviews, then I'm okay. If not, there's no other way to convince me that your hypothesis, your ideas are good to go further on. Agla, I see your hand. Is it new question or it's still from the last one? Okay, it's good. I'm just checking. Okie dokie dokie. Too much, a little bit over time today, but thank you very much for staying. Thank you for asking. I think that's a great start. I like it very much. Your questions, your doubts, your inputs very much. Absolutely adore all the inputs you give, you know, in addition to what lecturers, what speakers give you here. And let's use our group, Facebook group, to share, to connect, to contact, to... Yes, Artemas, thank you very much. Please use me for your interviews if you think da. See, already it's a raised hand that, yes, I want to volunteer. So I love this start. I don't know how about you, but I think we started very well. Have a great rest. Have a great rest. There's a lot of things to do up front, but I think it will be an exciting journey.
Thank you. Bye.
My job is to upload materials. Your job is to have rest, enjoy, and do interviews. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot, Karina. Bye.